Hello all and welcome to yet another commentary, and as you can see, thanks to occasional hang on, so let me just, why is it doing that? Stop. Yep, there you go. So I was trying to set up the video. Anyway, yep, so first film commentary for me, and I decided to go for a proper 90s classic called Cool Runnings back in 1993. So I've been a massive fan of this film. I used to watch it loads over and over again when I was younger, and since then there hasn't been, YouTube hasn't really spoken much about it, which I think is a real shame, because that when I keep looping this film in my head, even individual scenes, there's a lot I can pull from it, especially as someone who tries to study stories and try and make my own stories. So yeah, I'll just get some bobs sorted actually. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you're interested in following along, well, that's probably like the best way to watch these videos, because you're only looking at a single frame throughout this whole video. But yeah, so Cool Runnings is on Disney Plus. It is a Disney product after all, so you can get it out whenever you're ready. I'm currently on 00. So yeah, after this small introduction, why don't we press play in 3, 2, 1. There you go. So it should start off with the classic Disney logo. Yeah, just checking the volume of my headphones. Alright, so yeah, let's get on with it. Alright, so firstly we see some interesting text for these credits. Yeah, not to mention, when I had this on DVD, this film didn't have a DVD menu. But anyway, so yeah, sunrise. I think a lot of people would associate The Lion King with a sunrise intro, to indicate a brand new special day. But I think that's what a lot of people associate with, because The Lion King was that the same year? Which film came before this or this? I don't know, regardless. Yeah, so of interest in Dolly Shot, and we are soon to be introduced to our main character. Oh yeah, the way he uses the rocks as platforms, and I'm sure they have a proper Olympic name. Like the use of rocks, they seem to like improvising. And at first you would think it's like a proper race, because sometimes some professional sports take place on grass, but no, it looks like DeReese here is doing his practice run, and off he goes. So we can already get an idea that he's practicing for his jogging. Oh yeah, not to mention, my favourite song in this film as well, it's called Love You Want by the Wailing Souls, and a really very fitting tune. And I really like this whole scene as well, so you have some idea who your main character is, and it goes all around the area of Jamaica, which is shown later on in a text, and he even reveals the year as well, because it is loosely based on a true story of Jamaica's first bobsled team. The reason I say loosely is that there are quite a few differences between real life and this, but it's just taking creative liberties in order to make it as a structured enough story. But anyway, we see even more Jamaica, which it's a lot of greenery, looks nice and straightforward. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the market is nicely laid out. Yeah, and from the tone as well, seems to be quite uplifting so far, and you probably get some idea for what the jokes are going to be like, because it's not just wordy jokes. There's a lot of slapstick every now and again as well. Oh yeah, 1987. Yeah, that's where it's set. Okay, go from one sport to the next, and yeah, I'll say very quickly. I forgot how old I was. I was still in primary school, and I just remember being hooked on this film. I was just showing it during a sleepover, and I stood up all night watching the whole thing. I was that invested. There you go. Probably a lot of people's favourite characters. Yeah, I don't know who my favourite is, but I want to say it's him. Fun fact, he voices one of the jellyfishes in Shark Tale. I haven't seen that in full, but apparently that's what he voices as. Yeah. After seeing Sanka and Dries earlier, they both seem to get on with a lot of people. Both are very sociable. Both have their own sports, and yeah, they're both mates as well. So yeah, quite a good, interesting friendship duo already. 7th derby, yep. So Sanka's successful in his own way. So yeah, it's definitely about the Olympics, definitely confirmed by him, and even the mention of a dad, goes to show that Dries is trying to work on, while just continuing the legacy. Or no, just making his own achievements. Him picking side of away. Oh yeah, I like this improvising. Yeah, system on the tree for a good view. I like that. Yeah, because none of the kids are in this stand right now. And a couple of minor characters introduced. Yeah, so yeah, I think from at that point, Sanka's the kind of person who not many people really take seriously, which I think is a small element. Oh yeah, here's the kiss the egg gag. Yeah, definitely reoccurring. Apparently the actor still has that egg. I bet it's like made out of rubber or something, because no egg could survive sports like this. Oh yeah, so yeah, earlier you would have seen the music was done by Hans Zimmer. Yeah, I really like this score. One of my favourite scores. I mean, not only is it very memorable, but the use of motifs as well. Because even the motifs, they vary between the number of instruments. It's quite interesting. Oh yeah, no, I'm not sure if you saw, but yeah, his car is called the Rasta Rocket, which is a good name. I remember I watched this film a second time in secondary school. I think it was like end of term. I was in like some uni classes, and I forgot which class it was. But yeah, we were just watching this for a couple of days. We even did a word search on it. It's kind of fun. But a funny thing is, we did the word search before watching the film, so I was just looking at these things. And I was like, hang on, this is the film I watched all those years ago. Oh yeah, so we saw Sanka being successful at his race, and I can't really tell if he's won or not. And here's the slapstick. So yeah, at this point, still getting an idea what kind of film it is, and yeah, and I think it is a bit more clearer, despite we're just learning about the characters and that the plot hasn't quite started yet. Here's another repetitive gag. Oh yeah, but I think probably watched the film before watching this. Sorry, that's probably a bit late to say, but you can watch along with me if you haven't seen this before. I hope you're having fun already. And quite a nice scene as well. So you have someone who's already quite supportive of Dries, and then Dries goes on to a speech about what an interesting detail about the scene is that he talks about how he's proper ready in that, but then he like cracks up and he's like, no, I'm actually quite nervous. So yeah, just quite a just yeah, just lost my words really. But oh yeah, here's the bit. But yeah, you could tell he's definitely after the gold. Oh yeah, so here's the smallest motif. If I just listen to it clearer. Yeah, I think that's like the similar theme that plays during like the last race, which I kind of call it. I personally call it the success theme, because it's played every time like any of the characters are making a good step up, and Dries has this one chance to gain some kind of success. And yeah, you'll be seeing even more characters. Yeah, you do get to see because you're quite introduced to a lot of people. A lot of people having moments and lines, and it's much later on where you get to have more of an understanding on who you'll be following and who will be more of the side characters. Yeah. And I think so far I could infer that these three could, be the ones we see more of. But yeah, I guess it depends how you first watch it. Yeah, Junior, trying to be nice and civil. Because, yeah, like, whilst the recent Yule there, definitely keen on winning, but Junior, on the other hand, I think he's just trying to be nice. Yeah, that's definitely one of his main parts. If anything, he's too nice, which you'll see later on. Oh yeah, even this track, it's also played during one of the bobsledding parts. Yeah, almost like a racing theme. Oh god, yeah, Junior must have messed about with because sometimes you can fall over like that when you're thrown. Is it like when you throw too much weight on the top half of your body and then you start collapsing and losing your balance? I think it's happened to me before. And yeah, it's just the part of the story where just the usual beginning parts of a story where the character's in the routine and even in this case, trying to achieve something and only to have a bit of bad luck. So you can arguably say that's the inciting incident. Yeah, and there's Dewey's being so keen and because I don't think because at this point he at least wants to make it to the Olympics, and so to be tricked over like that, he's trying to challenge that, but looks like there's nothing much for him to do. That does lead to another minor coincidence, you could say. Oh, I don't know, because I'm not sure how many times Doris has been in this office, but as you see later on, it's like, oh, what's this picture? And maybe it's the first time he's like looked to this wall, probably. Unless he's thought about it before, but then he just wondered about it now. Yeah, Ervig Bitzer. Ervig? I can't really catch his name. Yeah, keep that name in mind, he's definitely important. So yeah, you already know that Ervig, sorry if I keep getting the rain wrong. Yeah, he's been Olympian and now he's apparently on the island, and he's doing a couple of things. We'll see more about that. And so yeah, from that dialogue, Doris has another idea. Yeah, I can. You probably wonder why he's taking the picture, but I think he does have like a small idea for how to use it. Yeah, and of course, they don't know what a bobsled is. Yeah, and you can assume he's been explained, and yeah, I guess Sanka partially got it right if you oversimplify it. Oh, looks like he runs his store. I never really noticed that. Good clothing style though. Ice. Yeah, when I think of the word ice, I think of how he says it. I mean, winter as in ice. Anyway, yeah, so with the mention of ice, yeah, I think you can assume that this, I don't think this country has any snow, like little to none. I'm not sure about the weather in Jamaica, but yeah, you can already see that Sanka's not going to be keen on the cold, and Doris is trying to work his magic too. I think it's the first time he's, being quite persuasive, to aid his goals. Because, if a bobsled team needs multiple people, then of course he's going to try and ask for people. And to ask Sanka first, someone who has a bit of experience with karting, it's a good ask. Mate Sanka only to be like, no, come along. So yeah, it's every one of those kind of people where you're like, oh, just say the right words and I'm on board. Bill Sled, yeah. Not gonna lie, I think I was first introduced to the Winter Olympics in 2010 because when the Mario and Sonic game came out, I was like, oh wow, is this a different type of Olympics that Nintendo made up? But no, the winter stuff was real, and I was like, wow. So yeah, I watched bits of 2010, and yeah, just a very, oh yeah, I don't know which one I favour, the Summer or the Winter Olympics, but both kind of good. Yeah, you'll find out who he is. He looks like he too's a bit down on his luck, and you can already see that he's, what he normally does. And yeah, like Doris, he's also on a bit bad luck. Yeah, it's John Candy, by the way. He's in Home Alone and Uncle Buck, I think it's called. I haven't seen that one, but yeah, I like his role in Home Alone. But he's fab in this. It's one of his last films before he died, unfortunately. Would have been really cool to see him more. Yeah, did the Olympic ped do? Did he say where Irving normally goes to? Unless this is like the only gambling place. Okay. But yeah, no. Oh, it is Irving. Okay. Yeah, I'll watch this with subtitles. You can see on on those small head turns that Sanka made alongside the trees, like started to go on about Jamaica. That's where Ervig's like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to this, and yeah, and I think Ervig also saw probably from the corner of his eye, probably saw Doris and Sanka see him smash up the radio. So to him to grab it again, you can see why he's like, oh, I've got to try and get them off doing that. But yeah, look at them, they're not going to stop. Doris go, oh no, the thing hits Doris's head. I thought it hit Sanka's head. Didn't really read that. Keeps calling him Sled God. Didn't know he'd try to call him again then. Yeah, so at this point, with losing the race, you can really tell that Doris is really keen on this new idea he has, because as explained by the Olympic head person earlier, I keep forgetting his name. Yeah, there's not really much of other choices for him, but Sanka just kind of no, Doris sees that as the next best thing to go for. If bobsled evolves running, then yeah, of course they're going to go for that. And yeah, despite only meeting him, you start to get an idea that he's really not into this bobsledding. Once again, you do get to learn more about that, but he's like, yeah, I'm really not the person for you. Just don't bother me with all of this bobsled studs. But then, yeah, really interesting details. So maybe Bervig's trying to, be reminded of the good times. But yeah, as you can see right now, it's like that's probably an error, not really meant to put that on. It's not meant to be there. Totally done with the bobsled stuff. And then yeah, I think that Doris must have got hold of the picture early to be like, oh, just in case someone needs a little nudge. Because you could say, why didn't he give the frame to Ervig in the first place? But I think he maybe they're just trying to, both Sanka and Doris were trying to go for a more uplifting approach to being like, hey, come, this idea, but when it starts getting serious, that's where it's like the right time to start bringing up, the picture, which, very, just a very important picture, really. Yeah, it was also really nice to, all of those details earlier, such as, he hasn't seen this picture in a while, can really see with the look on his face, and talking about bits and bobs he knew about. Is Ben the name of the dad? I think it's Ben. But yeah, once again, it's refusing. And another interesting thing there is that Doris is like picked up on well, if anything, yeah, that's what the Olympic person is told Dries, and Dries is like, oh, if that was what he is wanting to do as the goal, then yeah, let's explain to Ervig that if he has another go at this bobsled team. Yeah, and I think Ervig, I don't think he really has much else to do other than if he's like losing these horse racing and stuff, then it's probably something that he can do in the meantime, and he's probably also accepted it so he can get these people off his back, and there are times where he shows not to be bothered or frustrated because he's like, oh, I just really want this to be over and done with. I really don't want this to work. That's his current mindset anyway. But anyway, yeah, we've got this gathering from how sociable Senka and Dries are. Yeah, I can see why they managed to get hold of a load of people. Yeah. The mate who showed me this film, that's his favourite line. Shout out to you, probably know who you are. Yeah, God, look how old this budget is. Oh yeah, does that mean Ervig has like a collection of tapes that he's kept? Could probably go back to the idea about probably likes to look back on the old times. Actually, no, I don't think any of the footage is his. It could be, and he's probably survived the injuries. Yeah, it doesn't really say, but yeah, because yeah, Ervig was Olympian 30 or 20 years ago, even maybe slightly more than that. But yeah, it's also interesting to see these details because it gives you like an idea that the sport's quite dangerous, and for those who know the story, you can see how it pays off. And yeah, Ervig kind of presents it as, oh, look how daft this idea is. Like this sport, it can actually get you, get you into trouble. Yeah, Paul Sankra's on his own, but yeah, but when the crash then happens, it's presented more seriously, and of course you're caring about the situation more, and Ervig would have cared about it more as well. Anyway, we've got the familiar face who's come about. Yeah, almost the opposite of Dries and Sanka, not the most sociable. Not even like an A. Oh yeah, Yul Brenner's the name of an actor, so that's why Ervig was like, Yul Brenner? Yeah, Dries is trying to be nice and chatty, but then welcoming, but Yul is like, no, I just want to be serious and straight to the point. And he's always talking about how he's wanting to get away from Jamaica. That's something that Dries picks up upon, as you'll see later on. Yeah, and if it wasn't for him coming about, yeah, I think there's probably another time of them losing the chance. But no, Junior's come about, and oh no, the team's not fully formed yet. Yeah, Ervig's really not giving a damn about this whole situation. Unlike Dries and Senka here. Sorry. Oh yeah, and then Junior, he's trying to be like, hey, that's funny, nice one. And yours like, nah, don't laugh at my jokes. Yeah, another interesting parallel is that if you put Yul and Junior as another duo, you have someone who's very fearsome versus someone who's very nice. Yeah, Senka seems to know his way around tougher people. Yep, so when I said about Dries picking up someone else's goals and trying to remind them of them to then benefit, well, isn't it, you could say, Dries is still trying to benefit his own goals, but no, he's recognising what people want, and he's trying to give them the chance to do so. So, yeah, he's quite a selfless person. Yeah, good impression. A really good image. So Junior trying to join in, have the friends in the middle, and yours who's quite distant. Yeah, and this where Ervig's like, okay, no, so they got their team now, might as well push forward. And then a very fun cutaway. Is that a trough? Like a trough on wheels? Who knows how that was made? Oh yeah, yours definitely not wanting, any intimacy from Vickers either. I wouldn't even call it intimacy, just just light banter, I suppose. Oh yeah, I really like this scene. So yeah, all this time, Sanka's, he always likes being the driver, and only to be told to be in a lower position. You can see how that's quite frustrating for him. And Sanka is trying to sell the idea that I'm a really good driver, but then Ervig then starts talking about right here how serious the sport is. My reaction every time. And then that's where Ervig kind of talks to Doris as well, because because as he sees Doris as the one wanting this the most, the one who probably has the most Olympic knowledge and experience, that's where Ervig's like, yeah, I'm already deciding that he should be the lead and the driver of this. And yeah, you can see him being better at being responsible for the role he's being given, compared to Sanka. Yeah, Sanka, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go for the breaks, and yeah, then you get this really interesting insight from Doris there. Yeah, just really thinking about that responsibility, and it's something he will be having to think of if he wants to get some kind of sporting achievement. Yeah, what breed of dog is that? Yeah, I do like dogs, but yeah, interesting thing that for Junior to well, yeah, he's practicing using his dog, but I guess it just further shows how nice he is. As a pet he looks after. He does stroke him later on, so yeah, it's even more nice. Oh yeah, keep that red car in mind. Well, yeah, as you can see, he's practicing talking to his dad because his dad is a bit forthright. Because as you can see later on, Junior's the kind of character who's struggling to stand up for himself. But what's good is that he's similar to Doris. He's trying to stick to his own goal despite the obstacles coming in his way, but it does get in later on, as you'll see later. Yeah, you can see that the dad's definitely the kind of mindset where I don't think this is a safe career choice. Because by going for that, it's a far better career choice instead. And yeah, the dad's not really letting Junior speak. And then he tries to be old over being like, it's quite an interesting thing because you could just seeing that because dad's not trying to be selfish. He's not trying to make his son a certain way, but he thinks he's thinking that he's doing the right thing by giving Junior a much better career choice compared to what he's thinking of. Thinking that Junior is still young and naive, and yeah, it's just something you can pick up upon more as you go along. But yeah, they're all in an interesting variety of protective gear. I think Junior's wearing the most. It's like a rugby helmet. But yeah, then that's where you start to get pretty much our first montage. Oh yeah, they must be watching from afar somewhere. You don't really see that kid audience watching the bobsled again. I wonder where they were watching him, and if it was that day. I think all of this is just one day. Oh, is that one day as well, alongside the others? Couldn't assume so. But yeah, you can see because with the so at this point it's trying to achieve a short enough starting time, because you really need to be fast and on point when starting off your bobsled run. And oh, okay, there's the kids watching again. All right then, I thought the scene forgot about them. But yeah, as you can see, they're slowly getting better, and even if it's a practice sled, it still covers the basics despite how trash the vehicle is. Oh yeah, no, small part of training. Trying to adjust to the cold. Yeah, funny to put Sanka in there. Yeah, someone who's really not keen on the cold. How did they get permission to put Sanka in the freezer? Did Irvin ask? is the freezer even safe to be there? I didn't know you can access ice cream freezers that way. I just suddenly notice these things now. I think that's what happens when you start putting more thought into the film. Oh yes, you can see later on, I think a stopwatch must have been temporarily out. You know, probably the screen's probably blank, but you just later see what the score is later on. Oh, yeah, and the brake's not working as well. So definitely one of those moments where a group of characters are trying to achieve something, and despite some success, there's, still getting encountered by the bad luck. I wonder what trouble the police were encountering at first. I hope they cleared it, you know, especially if they're walking towards them now. Unless the car's broken down and the police is trying to investigate it, and you know the police would have come here because their car being hit is, you know, that's a bit more troublesome. Yeah, another interesting thing. So outside of the group, no one else is really believing that idea, and that scale kind of gets bigger. You know, it starts off with these police officers, and then the Olympic person is not agreeing with it. Even other Jamaicans not agree with it, and then when they finally make it to the Olympics, all these other teams from other countries are like, "What are they doing? You know, this is a country that's never done this kind of sport before. You know, just really not buying it." But you know, that perspective will change, and that's definitely one of the main part of the story. Oh, it's a nice building, nice establishing shot. Yeah. Mr. Coolidge. Okay, that's the Olympic person's name. Oh yeah, so for Ervig to talk about the pictures, he's trying to say, oh, I was looking at those, you know, I wasn't immediately training, so it gets to show that if I, you know, went from the A to B in that way, then so can the team. And I think it's the tightness of time that's making Ervig a bit more hesitant to, allow Mr. Coolidge to watch them a few times more, and also I think by Mr. Coolidge watching them, it could create some kind of doubt that could stop the whole goal. But you know, it looks like Mr. Coolidge is not having any of this. But you know, once again, Dries is like, oh, you know, I got this other idea, because they're just trying to get money, and they got their own ways of doing it. So they all starting to become far more proactive. I think at this point, I think Ervig's more into the idea, which is why he was reacting quite acting quite abrupt earlier. So yeah, I think after seeing the potential of the four Jamaicans earlier, I think that's why which is why he's caring about the idea a bit more. I think there is still some doubt in him though. But also Mr. Coolidge talked about how Ervig messed up somewhat, so that's like one of those pieces of dialogue where you're like, okay, so I wonder why messed up, because it would have explained how he went from a successful Olympian to the gambler he ended up being. So yeah, that's the first little snippet, and it's quite a long montage. This is just showing the variety of ways they're getting money. Yeah, my favourite part of the montage is the arm wrestling part. Yeah, and that's Theresa's missus. Probably should have kept your eyes open first, because they managed to make even more money. And if it's actually, I think that's I wondered if they got onto another way of making money, and because I was explaining later on, unless they just only got from what they got from the stand. We'll wait and see. But yeah, you do get to see with the results, seeing which method has been more successful than others. Yeah, and also their posters made out of cardboard, it just shows more improvising. Oh my god, what did Dries and his school did to get 184? That's impressive. God, I would have liked to know, to be honest. And Zanka's got the term the wrong way around. It reminds me of that one time where someone said, oh, how did you find your job? I found it at a jobs fair. No, how did you find it? Did you enjoy it? It kind of reminds me of that one conversation I had. 19,000. Wow. So yeah, just once again, they hit another obstacle, hit another, the plot hole. You could not pothole, not plot hole. Thinking out of options again. But then Junior's like, really, got them going. And yeah, when I said keep that car in mind, yeah, it looks like he's sold that really cool car of his. Yeah, really interesting idea that they're like, oh, this is quite a lot. You sold your car. Are you sure about this? And Junior's like, oh, absolutely. And because yeah, like as you can see here, Junior's like, oh, we would have made it at first, and I really, if it wasn't for me tripping up, I want to make up for it. And so yeah, and Reece seeing us here really adding to the. He's pretty much like the glue that holds the team together at this point, with everyone else helping. Especially Junior. He's part of the key to getting everyone across. Everyone's useful. The bobsled still needs their 4 men. Miami. Is Miami another place in Jamaica? I'm rubbish at geography. But yeah, even the juniors here is like, my dad's not most keen on the idea, and so I'm doing this behind his back, and when he thinks he's doing something else. Yeah, so it's something funny like that. Yeah, I think it just shows a sign of trust, and also it's indicated like that's quite nice. With you will not be into the team just yet, and I think Ervig earlier, the way he was looking stressed out, maybe because as shown later on, he doesn't really have much money left, so maybe he's worried about that, or maybe he's still kind of frustrated that the idea is still going. Oh, but no, he was wanting to. He was wanting to borrow money from Mr. Kulvik earlier, so maybe he's trying to worried about making past mistakes or what people will think of him when he gets there. Actually, yeah, I think you can make loads of guesses even from this point on if you've seen this for the first time. Also, yeah, I really like that tree transition earlier. So after being shown Jamaica, like a really nice setting, and then you're being introduced to another setting that does get some exploration. I really like this shot. So Ervig's just like walks into Cole, no problem. He's experienced it before. And then you have this line, he's never experienced this before. Even he's like the hardest bloke, even he's in shock. He's overcompensated. Yeah, it does show the degrees later on. Also in a PG film, that's quite a risky joke to make. Yeah, although age ratings change all the time over times. Yeah, the coldest I've experienced was about -14, maybe it's minus Celsius or whatever, when I was in France once. Yeah, that's the coldest I've ever been. But yeah, I'll show the degrees later, and it will show you the place. Show me the degrees, please. Oh my god, that's 10 times lower. Yeah, so yeah, I was in like 4 or 5 layers when it was like cold in France, and I was still chilly, so I can sympathise. And so yeah, they look like they're adjusting to. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, well, we see Ervig do this. The new bobsled team are start to explore the area a bit more. They explore in the shops a bit, which is quite nice. Yeah, so you can already infer what they're doing, exploring and shopping and that. Yeah, just a nice first step into this new area they've entered. Yeah, because I was just thinking, are the people in the rush, are they not bothering, or do they recognise Erlig? Yeah, well, those two people passing earlier. Yeah, no one's thought about that. Yeah, is this a set, or is this like a natural building the Olympians used? I'm not sure. The Olympic people, whatever. Yeah, just yet another instance of this is a real serious idea. But so far he seems to be the most reasonable, because he's like, okay, if this is on my computer, well, there you go, here are the details. So yeah, it just goes to show that not he was cynical of it at first, but looks like he's like I said, he's just doing his job. If it's there, then might as well go ahead. Every country has to start somewhere. Another interesting thing, to hear about the rule changes. Eric's probably trying to familiarise himself here. And when you first go to his place, you're like, does Ervig still have people he knows that are still there? And it looks like, there's people recognise him, and not in the best way, except for one who at least tries to be, a bit nicer, unlike the two that just left just now. Probably used to be on his Haphazard team, unless Brazil Sports. Yeah, so interesting to have other people in this history get involved. And Ervig right there, he's probably in doubt. He's probably wondering. I think he's made it all the way up there, so I think he's seen what happens. But he needs for his mate to come by. So we can. The next step can be made. I know right here he's trying to say, before we get into anything, he's trying to offer something, just trying to be more welcoming and nice, but Roger here, he's like, no, I just want to get straight to the point. And so the main point of this conversation is trying to get hold of a sled. Although what's something that later on Roger mentions about the Jamaican team. I wondered how he thought about it. Did he see it on the billboard? Was Ervig's name tied to the Jamaican team on a list somewhere? Is that how Roger would have known? Because Ervig doesn't mention that his team is Jamaican, in this scene, nor in the last one, and they don't see each other again. But so Roger outlining here is he's talking about, is this actually a serious idea? And he does mention one reason, the whole running on ice aspect. Yes, they can run well, but can they run on ice? Because something like that would take a lot of practice, but it's still possible. Ervig probably tries to be optimistic about that. But and also there's another interesting piece of history earlier when Ervig talks about how he didn't let Roger down, and so he's trying to get the favour back. So we don't really see Roger again outside of one short scene. So some interesting story choices. Sorry. And so we get onto this scene where they're being introduced to walking on ice. Oh god, we've taken them a while to run on it. I've done it loads of times. It's I think it's something I can pick up on quite easily, but it just depends how much experience of ice you've had, and obviously none of those Jamaicans have. Junior, that's cheating. Well, technically, Yawley's on his coat, and he's on his coat again. So it looks like Yawl doesn't even like his colours getting touched either. What practice? And then one by one, each one falls. Shouldn't he falls over and then trying to act hard only to be weakened by his surroundings again. I like that comment. Oh, they're a good team despite just being knocked over by someone that wasn't even wearing skates. Not gonna lie, something I didn't really clock until later is that this is the first time Idris sees a bobsled in action, and I feel like all of them should have seen this, but maybe although it is mainly Idris who you find out later on who tries to get familiar with the course, and whilst he probably will get some idea then, he's just familiarise himself with some of the basics first. And with the counting down right here, he's getting some inspiration, which you'll find out later on. really like the music here as well. So another interesting detail is that with the transition from, with the plane shot, it was going from Jamaican music into what probably sounds like a violin, the kind of the instruments used in country music. So yeah, there's an interesting transition there. And yeah, I was just listening to the music now. Yeah, I'm not really wearing the headphones, so just near my head, so I can just hear just enough. I'm not the biggest fan of headphones, especially when wearing them for a long period of time. But yeah, so some nice slow shots. Even if you as an audience member haven't really seen bobsledding properly, like these nice slow shots, they give you some idea. The way they like nearly go up the walls and they have to steer along. Getting a sense of the environment, and that Dries is, he seems to be pleased with this choice of going for bobsledding. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I just burped again. Sorry. Oh yeah. Dries is probably more educated if he's read that, unless he's heard the name and then knew how to pronounce it. Then yeah, it kind of reminds me of the subversion earlier where when Vig was like, "This is a bobsled," and yeah, it kind of happens again then. And so yeah, you can see that trying to get more familiar with a real bobsled, only for it to start breaking. Because yeah, it's an old one that Roger's got hold of. Also, Dries is quite appreciative, and the rest are just like not knowing when to think of it. So yeah, just another interesting aspect to Dries's character. I think Dries also knows that it will probably be made better. And either to like it as it is so far. It's quite interesting. I like these shots as well. Just seeing what starting off and getting ready looks like for this sport. Yeah, because a lot of them are quite subtle colours, very specific ones like white, blue, and red, which you can see all across. And then you have these lot who are a variety of colours with the clothing and with a grey vehicle as well. Yeah, not a very flattering vehicle. And yeah, it's enough to make everyone. Yeah, I can probably understand that reaction. Yeah, it's the first time they've seen someone from Jamaica come about, and then it's like trying to make the situation less awkward. Oh yeah, it's an interesting thing about bobsledding. Yeah, because you would think, oh, actually no, the marks are there at first, so the vehicle can go straight, and then it's able to slide freely. But of course, you need to be more precise with where you're sliding that. Yeah, it's probably the first time they're sitting in this vehicle and you all is already like, you're in my personal space. And yeah, this is the primary because if the story is choosing to get like a perspective of other teams for what they think of this new Jamaica team coming about, this but yeah, like they're like the primary representation of another team being unsure of this new team coming about. Yeah, you all seems to have a bit of an understanding of this. And with Junior being all naive, he looks like he's a bit unsure about all of this. But yeah, to hear of the other team's lead being one of the best drivers, that already adds a bit of pressure coming into the sport. Yeah, I feel like all of the drivers should have had goggles, but yeah, but they still have protection, and of course, Dries would have the goggles because he's at the front. Oh yeah, watch this head turn now. Hold it. He gets me every time. I hope Katsanka can see. Was Sanka like bursting and never really like acknowledge it? I suppose sometimes you have a situation where you like focus on everything else at a point where, oh, I probably would need to go. So as well as that, yeah, Sanka's already finding this a bit too much because it's going up the walls and this is much higher speed than a car. It's a fairly good start. Well, yeah, they're probably swinging about. Yeah, that's not going to do much for the vehicle speed. Although, what did the crashing look like then? I suppose you can infer, but did the vehicle like fall apart? Did it go into a wall? Oh no. How come Yule's not shouting? Is he knocked out? No, with the two people that were cynical towards Irvin earlier, so even there, understandably, you're quite like, oh, you know, it's not a good look for them so far. I also really like this scene as well. Yeah, get to learn all sorts. So yeah, Yule's not. I feel like Yule's not very cultural, because if Sanka's cooking something that yeah, did he say it was like his grandma's recipe earlier? It was something like that. But yeah, it just goes to show how distant Yule is from, well, not only distant from people, but he just seems to not be the biggest fan of this whole Jamaican vibe. And then you have this interesting back and forth about, you know, they're trying to mock each other's intelligence and that. And then Yule then tries to get a bit of an upper hand by saying, oh, I am at least the one with the bigger goals in that. And sadly, it does backfire a little bit. And yeah, Junior also, I wonder what Junior was writing. Is he like writing a letter or doing some paperwork that each Limpin has to do? Oh, no, I suppose you could make any guess. I didn't recognise the building at first, so even I was like, what is this building? So yeah, it's an interesting two audience perspective. You either recognise the building or you don't, and then you kind of fall into either's perspective where you're either surprised or so forth. Anyway, yeah, Junior's trying to take the situation seriously, you know, just nicely admitting that that's the palace, and then Sanka kind of continues to mock you all, you know, even saying that, oh, you know, all of us Jamaicans are the same. But yeah, then Junior that comes about and says, not quite, you know, for those who, you know, will be able to stand out if we have these, you know, much bigger goals. Like anyone can stand out with these bigger goals. Yeah, because Eo's trying to defend Yor here, which is quite nice, and also just talk about a couple of bits and bobs about his dad. You know, he's able to, you know, his, you know, dad getting quite a cool, you know, quite a high position in society. You know, a place in Kingston. Kingston's the capital of Jamaica, isn't it? And it was a cool house we saw earlier. So yeah, just really adds to that theme of, you know, no matter what kind of low position you're in, you can always achieve some kind of success, and that's what you know, Junior's trying to support Yule with. And granted, you know, Yule will probably not get a Buckingham Palace, but Junior at least recognises that Yule wants at least some kind of equivalent. And I think that small look from Yule in the mirror just goes to show that you know, Junior really, like, you know, tries to respect him, because they're quite nice to each other afterwards, which yeah, I think after getting on some sport like that, yeah, of course, you know, of course you're going to be kind of friendly back. Oh, he loves it. Yeet. That's the sounds he made as well. Anyway, time for another practice, and this time, instead of being pushed, they're going to be chucked. Sanka needing to fit his head again, and them two still in disbelief. Oh yeah, another interesting detail in the previous race or previous trial, Sanka was like, "Hey, do you want to kiss my egg too?" Because he offers the egg to his karting sidekick, at the start of the film. But yeah, yours even like, "No, I'm not kissing any eggs." And yeah, as we can see here, Mr. Corvig, he's now sees that the Jamaicans have made it this far and they're not making themselves look good. And even the dad at first glance is like, what on earth is this? But then he would have quickly read the name somewhere only to be like, what? My son is in all of this? Yeah, so Junior would have been quite far and there's no social media at the time, so. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, they exchanged letters. I was shown later on. And despite Dries being in a low position, and despite this bloke's being like, "Oh, how cool this team is," and Dries is at least trying to show some kind of respect to them. And yeah, and also right here, he's like, "I ain't going to run down. We got someone good," and then you get the reveal for why Ervik has been seen so negatively by the others. I remember watching these scenes and I never really caught it, but thanks to presumably subtitles or probably listening a bit more. But yeah, putting weights in the sled. Yeah, a big deal in the sporting mode. Yeah. And I think right there, I think Dries is, a bit, let down. Although, if you can see later on, I don't think he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing this anymore." But I think Dries is probably needing to take him because he can't bail, this entire plan. He's worked so hard for it, so I think he needs time to process it. And despite what has been said to Ervig, Ervig is still trying to maintain some kind of just not try not to be brought down as well, which good for him. And then you have another interesting kind of, where did Saka get this stuff from? Oh yeah, so this is them two being quite nice. So yeah, you can assume after supporting Yule's goals, Yule's like, yeah, I like Junior now. It's probably his favourite member at this point. That's why I should always check the door. Never assume that the same person comes again. Yeah, Yule does fit up a bit bad. No, it's a telegram. What's it say? Telegram. Oh, is that what letters are sometimes called? So, and yeah, that's where the dad finds out, and so a bit of trouble's in there. It's probably you never really see them share that. We'll see much later on when the dad actually arrives, but it's almost treated as a situation only shared between them two and what they discuss. It's probably worth addressing it to Ervig, but maybe Ervig's absent. Yeah, we're not sure where Ervig is at this point. Maybe he's somewhere where other coaches are gathered. We can definitely see, we already know, Dries is studying, and so, yeah, when Ervig was talking about, going out and about and drinking beer, yeah, this is them taking advantage of, some spare time, getting more familiar with the culture. Yeah, small detail, both Sanka and that lady they swap hats. And yeah, Sanka, despite being an oddity, gets going. He's trying to be nice and loose. In fact, he's very expressive of his culture, which you'll see later on. Yeah, and there's Yule reminding Junior how useful he has been, with the extra money, and he can't back down now. And you can see that Junior's like, yeah, you've no idea what it's like. I have to obey him, otherwise, he's that strong above me. And Yule's like, yeah, and Yule's being like, no, he's just someone who's just trying to be powerful. Oh god, he's probably washed half a drink. There you go. Yeah, Junior's tried to apologise, but no, this other team just continues belittling. Oh no, he was dissing Sanka up the thing earlier. Yeah, to say I am a real man in that mumbling manner, it shows that Junior's trying to stand up for himself, but he was really struggling to do so. And then that's where he was like, you know what, I'm sick of this, weak-mindedness. Let's really build him up. I wonder what he was thinking he was doing. But they're not continuing to fight elsewhere or something. So yeah, if they're just chatting, I can't see why anyone would be, wondering what was happening despite getting dragged into the bathroom. Really like this setup as well. Yeah, I can remember the second. Yeah, like when I was watching this in school, I just remembered all of these lines off by heart immediately. Sorry, I've got dust, I think. And yeah, this is you're trying to build up Junior to be more, just get himself some self-confidence. Yeah, by saying the right words, you can really get. I think the self-reflection really helps as well, because it really shows that Junior definitely looks like someone who's tougher. I think, and also yours like, oh, at least he's got his confidence, but no, Junior takes it a step further by trying to confront the other team again. There go, them two swapped hats, like I said earlier. Oh, and Sanka's more in line as well. That's, more in line with all the other dancers. Yeah, and Junior's having one of those phases where he's like, oh, this is the first time I felt tough in a while, and I'm going to use it, only for that to backfire. Oh yeah, because there's that guy looking on the right. Yeah, Junior looks like, he's... Although it's the other team being a bit more physical, so I think a lot of people have said, oh, he probably started today, he confronted us first. He's got Tom Baker's scarf, rather. Oh no, you don't. Yeah, at least lapped off loosely, as shown earlier. Yeah, the amount of punishment you can get from just hitting someone, striking first, you could say. And somehow Junior's cap was able to pit himself from the bottle, and Sankaros trying to defend the others. Yeah, he's probably seen the fight well enough. I don't know where to look. Yeah, and then Free had too much fun, and the alcohol's probably got to them as well a little bit. And then you already see how serious Doris is taking it. Yeah, so you can see more of, he's just trying to, only supporting of Junior, but also, it looks like he's supporting Sanka as well, which is nice, just goes to show how much team building Yul is doing for himself. And Sanka right here is kind of belittling the other teams, but at the moment Doris kind of see the other teams as an example, which he does take too far later on. And wherever Ervik has been to, he's now gone to the bar and helped it, so yeah, no charges. But it doesn't mean that they get off loosely. So yeah, Ervik right here is because the three don't know about what Ervik did. Only Doris knows that, but for Ervik to say, oh, they dislike me, I think the three of them will probably think, oh, it's a bit of a shame he's not liked. I wondered if they wanted to ask what Ervik did that made him disliked. Although I think if Ervik ended up going into gambling, then Sanka could already have some ideas. He's probably let himself in some way during the Olympics. But yeah, for Ervik to say, oh, we're not in a very good position at the moment. And so yeah, and Ervik saying, take a good look at yourself, and with the whole butt whipping comment, I think that has made the four of them think, or the three of them think, oh, you know, let's actually start taking this seriously. You know, no more fun and games. I know we're having all of this hate from others, but we've got to go somewhere. And yeah, looks like we have a nice turnaround and a cool song as well. Yeah, because even if the first song is my favourite one, and not to mention the credit song being the most famous, yeah, I still like all of the song choices. I think this film also has like the most montages I've ever seen, but they're good ones, and each one are different. Yeah, some interesting details as well. You have Dries, who's fit enough. You have Yul, who's extremely fit. There's Junior, who's slowly building himself up, and then you have Sanka, who's the least sportiest, being really struggling with all of this. Yeah, no wonder why Ervig made Sanka the break person. But everyone has to start somewhere. And yeah, you can see all of them start getting well. And I really like that subversion of thinking that Sanka is all well and good, but turns out he's getting some help from Ervig right there. Yeah, because I remember thinking, what these pull-ups, but no, you do have to have that upper strength to pull the bobsled. No, push it rather. God, I don't want to guess what those snowballs taste like. Funny for the others to get hold of it. And yeah, Darius getting quizzed on which turn is which, and yeah, you can see them slowly get better. And yeah. So yes, I think another thing I like in stories, or just when watching anything, is recognising the structure. And at this point, we're going from what I call the fun and game section into the midpoint, because since the inciting incident came about, that's where a lot of them, been experienced to all sorts of new experiences, trying new things, with the all relevant to the goal, and now they're about to head for a significant event, in this case winning this trial. And because despite being a different thing, because all of this time they've been getting themselves prepared, and now they've absolutely made it to the Olympics. They'll be shown live on TV, but then the goal almost, because winning the Olympics has always been their goal, but it's their execution during the participation after the midpoint which becomes like the new focus for these characters. So yeah, we saw them introduce the bobsled team now have their suits, and starting to see who will be critiquing them. Whoever this Kroychek is, I wonder if he was also nice to Ervig. Yeah, because Ervig must have been looking forward to getting critiqued by him, only to have someone right here who really dislikes Ervig. So it adds adds a bit of pressure to the trial, and for Ervig to say no problem, man. Yeah, really, it goes to really shows how how much he's invested in his own team, how much he tries to represent them. So yeah, just another nice detail. Yeah, you can from these bits and bobs you can see that it's using the old sled. Oh no, it still is. Those stickers confused me. So it's still yet to be modified. And yeah, so with counting down in the same language the Swifts team did, that already shows a first hint of well, at least Darius already thinking, oh, if I'm gonna be real, like the real deal in this sport, then I must act like them. And thankfully it does alright from them there, but like later on, so it just goes to show that this is already an easier thing to do, this trial, compared to the real time trial later on. Imagine a bobsledding race, that could be really interesting, but I think the question about could be too dangerous. But even then, kart racing exists. And actually, we could do it on like one singular lower ramp instead of all of these up the wall ramps. I can see that being possible. Sled racing does exist as like an activity, and the ski and snowboard races as well. Just an idea for you Olympics. There you go. So after yeah, so this is pretty much the success of the midpoint, or where the significant event starts coming about. And yeah, then you have Irving, who used to be, all down in that, but now he's acting quite jovial at a point where he's a bit in your face. And even despite how far that camera shot was up in the skyscraper, I think that's you can already tell there's a look of, oh no, like the, although this, as well as already thinking, oh yeah, I'm really unsure about this one, I don't know if it's doing, but then he makes a decision which you'll see later on. So yeah, they modified the sled and a bit more bonding, because as well as probably all liking their bobsled, now they're coming up for a name for the is it coming up for a name of the bobsled? Yeah, it's nice that the respected junior's choice, but even then they're like, what could we go for that would really ring? And of course, roll credits. Well, not roll credits. Is this an Simpsons reference for those who may or may not know? Yep, cool name, good choice. And then they start celebrating everything, even at a point where they're like, yeah, it's him. Yeah, but then all of that goes upside down. Because after the midpoint, because before going into the low point, that's where stories sometimes have like more serious events, creating doubt, adding obstacles. And, in this case, yeah, they've just been disqualified. So how will they come out of that? And despite coming out of it, the low point is still yet to come. Yeah, Vince definitely not letting this slide if he's going to fight for his Jamaican bobsled team. Yeah, I can't think of those massive scarves without thinking of Tom Baker. He looks so good in those massive scarves. Or scarf, you could say. And then you do get some, very variety of point of views, and for why, it's not the best idea to have this, the Jamaican bobsled team to go ahead. Yeah, they're talking about all sorts of things like the change of policy, or, they're just close-minded at a point where they're not really wanting to give them a chance, because I think all of them would have had there's already some bias against this new team, alongside bias against Irving for what he's done. But Irving, has this really cool monologue, admitting all of his mistakes, and he's like, everyone should have a chance to represent their country. And yeah, I really like this speech. It just shows that he's starting to own up for his mistakes. He's seen his teams go so far. He's already invested in them, and yeah, he's gonna fight for them. And it's scenes like this that really would make me and others appreciate John Candy as well. Like the way he presents himself during this monologue alongside of his scenes. It's really sad to see him go. And I've only mainly seen him in this film and Home Alone. Oh, absolutely fantastic. But then he says this line. Ah, I didn't hear that line then. Because Irving all of this time has been so close-minded and cynical of all of this, and yeah, for him to say, oh, please don't be as cynical and narrow-minded as me. Let's actually give this new team a chance. And as you can see later on, the Jamaicans are added back in the team. But I think as well as wanting to surprise the team, I think you can't really be like, yay, on the phone anyway, because you have to take it seriously. But now they can celebrate now they're off the phone. Oh, you doesn't have a problem with being touched now. That's nice. I think that's another step for him. Oh wow, yeah, it's a long time you've been away from Jamaica. I mean, just to pretty much one of the primary settings in the latter half of the story. Oh no, that's you do. There's actual footage of the Olympics, later on that's reused in this film. But yeah, this is definitely not. This is definitely a film scene, using the same actors. And yeah, you already get an idea that these, our new team, they're already being watched. The Olympics is right there. 15th. Oh, okay. I think this is also probably the longest shot in the film. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one on the bottom left. That's Junior, who apparently has the most stuff. Yeah, if he's the richest, I wonder how much he's brought with him. Come on, buddy, hurry up. Ervig will be telling you. Yep, there you go. Oh yeah, another really interesting moment where Vince, because he's never coached before, so yeah, I think that's where he's I think he's at least attempting to be like other coaches here. Yeah, and I think them tittering during the speech, I think Irving was already aware that he wasn't really good at it. He's probably expecting the tittering from the others. But yeah, tittering means laugh, by the way, laughing lightly, and yeah, just having a bit of fun despite taking the situation seriously. Yeah, it's just a nice, good balance. But now you have the dad who's arrived. I wonder if because he all knows about the situation. I wonder if they've thought that the dad wants to have a word with him. But right now, the dad's going to try and take him out. If you all admitted the situation, I bet the others would have ran out. Gone chasing after him, being like, "Junior, please don't take him away." But as you can see later, you all was watching the situation, and yeah, I think if they're just on the first floor, they're not gone yet. So yeah, I think you all would have been like, "Oh my god, the dad is actually taking Junior away." So yeah, I think you all at this point just letting the situation play out and see what happens. You all probably recognises this mirror in the lift. Oh, I love that sound. It's the best, my favourite sound effect ever. The way the hit just rhymes, goes, not rhymes, like goes along with the word like that. It's just so powerful. Yeah, one of my favourite payoffs in the film, probably one of the strongest payoffs as well. And that's where the dad, emits his perspective. He thinks he's trying to do the right thing, but then he starts seeing Junior stand up for himself, and considering this is a major step for Junior, I think that's made the dad lose his words. Yeah, so he's, you see later the dad's in shock, and yeah, he's decided to let him go along with it. Yeah, and yeah, it's took a lot out on Junior. Probably feels bad as well, but it's the right decision. Yeah, and there's Jewel watching it, and yeah, Junior's staying in the team. Hooray! Oh wow, I like it when you see those massive, you know, scenery of multiple flags at once. I do find flags very interesting in general. I just suddenly noticed I haven't really talked about this score recently. I don't think it's been prominent. If anything, it comes back in the spotlight during these these Olympic scenes, you could say. Sorry, I felt like my wire has just hit the recording. I wonder if the commentators are the real people or if that was just for the film as well. Because I can always find out. The son continuing to be expressive and no one's really taking note of him. Yeah, I think that scene does indicate that you know, even if the Jamaicans have made it this far with all the trials and that, you know, there's a lot of people that are still not into it, and they have the commentators not really showing much confidence, and then you have the Olympic person, I forgot his name again. He is probably still not sure about the idea as well, but interesting for him to keep on tabs, because you know, if you know, of course he would want to keep an eye on what Jamaica's doing all the way over there, because yeah, that Olympic person as we've seen shown, as we were shown earlier, he's definitely wasn't, we won't be keen on Jamaica being humiliated in a way which is, you know, this brand new scenario, you know, first time and just get badly humiliated. Yeah, something that he won't be impressed with. Also, yeah, this is where, oh, it's a policeman. I think I remember that from last time. Oh yeah, I think this is one of my favourite scores kind of plays. It's like a nice uplifting theme, really, getting you into the spirit and the speed of this Olympic sport. Yeah, I really like it. There's a sweet, you know, SUITE of chorings that does have that tune in alongside many others. Yeah, really nice montage of pieces that I definitely would you know, recommend, because the full score is quite nice, but the suite really simplifies it, really showing off yeah, really showing like the highlights of the score, really showing how good Hans Zimmer is. And this is where you get more of an indication that whatever Dries has been influenced by, yeah, it's already not working, you know. Yep, Junior's really feeling the pressure, and Dries has been, you can assume that he's thinking about making himself as good as possible with all the inspiration at that point where he forgets his goggles. So with those little tidbits, you're already thinking, oh, what's this first race going to be like? And yeah, they kind of struggled to sit in properly. I think that's Yule or Junior. I want to say it's Yule. I think you can probably assume that's pressure. You know, struggling to find the seat and like that, unless Yule was bothered by what Dries was doing earlier. Yeah. But yeah, you can see that they're not really. Oh, because as shown later later on, they're so like they're concentrating too much on the sport at a point where it's like having these formal thoughts too ingrained at a point where they mess up because they're too concentrating on trying to be good, and then that's where Sanka, you know, has this speech, you know, a couple of lines about loosening up, and that's what helps them. And then, you know, Irvin showing his disappointment. Yeah, Junior trying to be helpful again, but Irvin's like, no, you actually know these things. And then he talks about staying loose. Yeah, so that's something that only the team can you know, help with themselves. And I think that's what Sanka probably, you know, takes upon on like really listens, as shown later. But you have the, you know, that massive moment of silence, and then Dries comes in being like, oh yeah, there's this other thing that the team does, and then yeah, that's where the others are like, you know, well, no, we are not you know, we're not hearing this other thing from this team you keep talking about. And then as Sanka says here, we've got yeah, their own style. Oh, can't call his hobby stupid, that's mean. But yeah, like Dries, you can understand, because, you know, the cartoons are very, it's a very informal sport, but Sanka is still you know, Sanka is like, well, he probably knows that this sport is informal, but with Jamaica they can at least still be who they are. And yeah, I think that's where the theme comes in, you know, outside Teresa's house. No interesting piece of history. but yeah, just yeah, because I call it the success theme, and I think what backs up that theory of mine is that as Sankara's like, yeah, let's start being ourselves, and yeah, that of course acts as the next proper step for them. And yet, from the off, they're already full on expressive. So yeah, that's pretty much Sankara's role in the group. Yeah, just yeah, it just goes to show that Sankara's, he's not the brake man. He's not just the comic relief. He's the one who helps with this expression of them. And oh yeah, by the way, yeah, really listen to the score here. It's a really proper unique piece, which yeah, really like showcases and shows off their talent. Yeah, will be their best trial after all. Saying the name of the sled and then using the same catchphrases that Sankey uses for his cart. And yep, as the commentators say, they're a faster start than the Swiss, so it's already going rather well for them. Yeah, imagine if they called the bobsled the Rasta Rocket 2.0 or something. I guess it would be funny or nice. But Coronix is a good name as well. Stands out on its own. And you can see the editing, the way it's shot. The speed of the music really shows off. That proper full potential. Everyone's been really cheery, and this is the moment where everyone's like, "Oh, you know what? This is yeah. Look at all of these people cheering. They really start to see them as the real deal." Yeah, Ervig being very jolly again. Oh yeah, the way the score ends. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. What did the 8th mean? Oh. Probably would need to look deeper into that chalkboard. Oh yeah, that building on the left, was that the restaurant Ervig and Roger went to? Oh yeah, and that's how Dries studies the tracks. I say because if you're wondering who's talked about this film, there's a couple of people from Channel Awesome who's talked about it. There's the Double Toasted podcast that talked about it, and then there was one more other YouTuber who that talked about a more specific theme of the film, and it's the theme of, is something enough or when is it enough? And he uses this theme primarily. So yeah, it is quite another interesting theme. I think it's just more tied to Ervig because, as he explains here, he's been so inspired by his winning at a point where he wanted to continue to do so. And yeah, it's nice for Idris to have more of a talk about it, ask him why it's the case. And as you can guess, or I would guess, Idris he wouldn't want to make an argument out of it because, they have to focus on the sport, but now they're in a good position and, they processed everything. So yeah, they get to have this nice calm chat about, why Ervig made his choices all those years ago. Yeah, and even Dries seems to have that idea of, just you already have the gold medals, and yeah, what Ervig says does back up what the video essay says. But anyway, yeah, like Dries was talking about, he probably has this idea of, oh, well, as long as you achieve something, then you can achieve being successful, even if it's not as successful as before. Yeah, just a really nice scene. Yeah, I think I've probably decided. I think my favourite scene is when Sanka talks about how they should be more of themselves, saying, "Oh, let's act more Jamaican." Yeah, I think that has to be my favourite scene. Oh yeah, and later on, the Olympic person comes and joins in, because despite not seeing his reaction in the previous trial, I think some audience members would be like, oh, I wonder what he's thought of their success. And so to travel all the way to that bar, I think that goes to show that he's starting to be more into the idea of Jamaica take part in this sport, because they've really done themselves well last time. And yeah, yours kissing the egg as well, he refused earlier, so even more like friendship building with him. And yeah, that's tying back to the previous scene. And this too also has an interesting score, because despite being short at first, it's like almost representative of, yes, they're gonna have another successful run, and then that's where some dread kind of builds up, and then it goes back to the success theme, but with just the full power of Hans Zimmer's score. Yeah, oh yeah, so that's the real footage of the Olympics. So yeah, one of my uncles said that. Yeah, because of how under the radar this film is, there's not there's some videos in that where you can find out more about the real backstory of Cool Runnings, but I just wish there was more of it. Like I said, there's barely any film analysis on this film. Yeah, it's like a couple of things I've probably could have improved, and a lot of things you can infer. So, but yeah, I think overall it's proper solid. This was engaging a version of me that was still in primary school. But anyway, yeah, we get this old sled is not holding up well, and then that's where you get to see everyone starting to see that everything's wrong, because the two people that we saw earlier, the girlfriend of Doris and that older lady, yeah, they act as some their perspective of watching the sport. So it's a couple of people that the audience has some familiarity with, before seeing them watch the sport, because without scenes of them, I think it would just look like a load of people we don't know about just watching the sport. If anything, we would only know the Olympic person, and presumably the children who have been watching the four of them in action a couple of times. So yeah, it's just nice to get to know some characters a little bit, and then see them witness the action. It helps, just adds to their perspective. So yeah, they're crushed, they're not made it to the finish line. And what I really like about this scene is that it's almost reminiscent of their track earlier, where most of them tripped up. But this time, as Dries says, we have to finish the race. And so they may have fallen down, but they are going to finish the race in another way. Yeah, and see them slowly stopping, that goes to show that that they're all fine. None of them are limping or anything. Yeah, they must have really took themselves well in the sled. And granted, their necks aren't, like the most. I think their necks are probably the least protective part because of how loose it could be. But yeah, they must have tucked in, and those helmets are proper good. So and of course in real life, they didn't pick up the sled; they slid it along. But they were fine, very little injury. That'll be interesting to look at. What the actual injuries were when the real event happened. Oh yeah, I really like that shot of Senka as well. All of that strength he was building up at that montage. It's trying to use all the strength he has to help lift the sled. Oh yeah, it's really nice for him to start the clapping. Yeah, there's Roger again. And then this is where other audience members start coming about. So yeah, the other team, that's where they're like, what, they've done well last time, and they're continuing to finish the race. I respect them now. And then Roger's more into the idea, and then presumably one of the last people to clap is this guy. See him Irvin achieve something again, properly redeeming himself. I think it would have been nice for Irvin to see his former coach again. But I think not only was their last scene in the conference enough to tie that knot, but yeah, you can already see that that inspired by what they're seeing. Yeah, they finished the race. Oh yeah, the score's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And this, it kind of reminds me of a like a Karate Kid ending where there's not much left after the action. Although whilst Karate Kid pretty much ends the film immediately once all the fighting is done, it's a couple of bits and bobs. Like here. Oh yeah, imagine them seeing again, like in some kind of cool running sequel. Yeah, they'll be all getting on. Yeah, Newell and Junior are very good friends, and Sankine again some respect from others, and yeah, all this time his egg still survives. Then both, yeah, seeing Derice at the finishing line. Yeah, it's one of my favourite endings as well. It's just very happy and uplifting. And then that picture becomes part of, his billboard. Oh yeah, Ben Bannock. Yeah, that's Derice's dad. Yep. So there's a space for it, and yeah, definitely a part of Jamaica's legacy of the Olympics, and yeah, really nice final shot. Yeah, everyone's achieved everything. Yeah, and just a couple of simple texts to round up the story. So, I forgot to say earlier is, the director John Turteltaub. The only other film I've seen him do was, what was it called? Sorcerer's Apprentice, which I've seen a good few times. Haven't seen it in ages though. I wonder what that film's like on another rewatch. It has Nicolas Cage in, and the guy who plays Doctor Octopus in the Spider-Man live-action films. He's in it too. Oh, and the guy who voices Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, he's the main character of that film. So I will need to rewatch that another time. Anyway, yeah. So the end of not quite the end of. Well, it's nearly the end of my first film commentary, and yeah, I couldn't have. Yeah, I'm really happy that this is my first choice. I have other choices, like other films, which I think should be talked about a bit more, and I might pop onto like other popular ones, but it's it's just my scheduling will just be really tight, and I only have like unique moments because the Cobra Kai episode series that I've been working on. At least that's like 30 minutes of time for myself, but today was like the right time to do commentary, for a film this long, which is above an hour and a half. Yeah, typical. I can't say typical. That's like the wrong kind of word. Well, just do your average. I thought that said Rebel Wilson, but no, that's Reggie Wilson. Anyway, so just a normal Disney film length. Fun fact, it's the length of a Vera episode. That's a show on ITV. Yeah, because the episode length plus the adverts, that makes it longer than a Disney film. So funny. Anyway, let's conclude this properly by talking about the film. So, yeah, a couple of other details I've spotted, despite seeing this loads of times. Yeah, that's definitely one of my rewatch films. Most rewatch films, alongside the first Avengers and the first Transformers. Yeah, I used to rewatch those loads of times. But yeah, I think it's rather solid. I don't really have a favourite character. I do have my favourite scene though, which I said later on. I really like those scenes. It just goes to show that despite how fun the action is and all the funny moments, it's just like the emotional moments of the characters bonding. It really sells. Sorry, that's my tablet falling over. Yeah, it just really adds to like the substance of the film. It's just all sorts. I think the score, is fantastic by Hans Zimmer. I really like the pieces that are playing during the races, and a variety of instruments. There's electric guitar, there's the steel pans, and then the other instruments that are normally there in an orchestra. So yeah, to have all of those elements mixed in, it creates a very unique score. And I'm not normally the biggest sports person. I like watching the Olympics, but I'm not an invested sports person. I don't mind what any team wins in anything. Not very enthusiastic with sports, and there's not many other sport films I've seen. I remember watching the beginning of Dodgeball, which I probably could watch the rest of because I vaguely enjoyed bits and bobs of it. The one that has Ben Stiller in it. So yeah, it definitely probably will be my favourite ever sporting film. It's just it's like whether you're a younger person watching this Disney film or if you're someone who's unfamiliar with the Olympics, there's a lot of these details and showing how getting to the Olympics work. I tell you what, I've seen Eddie the Eagle. Yes, that's another film, because I say there's a cool running Easter egg where, because Eddie the Eagle takes place in the same year, there's a radio snippet that says, "Oh, the Jamaica bobsled team are about to come up," and it's like that Easter egg. And funny enough, that would probably make a cinematic universe, watching these films side by side, despite the only connective part being the same year and a mention on the radio. Sorry, dust again. So yeah, I like those parts because when your film is based on the topic that not everyone's going to be familiar of, I do like it, appreciate how simple it makes it. I'm not as someone who knows little to nothing about sporting culture, to be able to understand those snippets. Just something to appreciate. Just very well structured as well. Just watching the start of the film again, to get into that mindset of appreciating the film more. We've got a nice introduction to the setting. We know who our protagonist is. We understand the tone. It's mostly light on its feet, and then I don't think it's not. I think most of the contrivances happen at that part to help fuel the inciting incident. So I can't really think of any other coincidence that's happened afterwards. I don't know about plot holes as well, because I think when you look back, there's probably some things I've said where it makes you wonder about certain bits and bobs, and there's scenes I've thought of which I think could add to the film, such as Irving seeing his coach for one more time, they both being happy about the achievement. So if anything, it's just just a couple of ideas which could strengthen the film. But I think what you can infer and from what's been achieved, I think it's definitely very good. And by the way, so I've posted the video on Twitter, and that's where you can use that as like the comment section, as you will, because as a kids film, and as I'm someone who I don't use any like mature language, but that's why the comments are off. Just make it more of a family friendly video, because Cobra Kai, at least that's a 15 rated thing that younger audiences can't watch, therefore the YouTube comment section is more available then. But you get the idea. So if you want to share any thoughts or feedbacks, improvement they can think of, or your personal experiences watching the film, then you can hop onto Twitter, and if I probably post it elsewhere, then feel free to share any thoughts. It'd probably be nice to start off like a small community of appreciating this film. I haven't spotted any continuity errors. The editing has you know, the editing works with what it does. A lot of the camera work is, I think both the camera work and the editing is just nice and straightforward. If anything, this film has a lot of dolly camera movements, which it uses quite well. Because I've seen films where the editing and the directing goes like more above and beyond. You know, for when directors are able to have our ideas for more. Just like more imagination for how they can shot or present a scene. But most films I've seen, do they just present it nice and straightforward. Almost how I when I make my animated films, I just mainly think of the point of the shot and make sure it's like well presented and make sure that the scenes connect. Because that kind of mindset is enough. It just depends how much knowledge of filmmaking you have. But I think I really like, although to explain some highlights, I like the cutting of the bobsled racing, especially the second trial. A lot of nice dolly work every now and again. I like it when the camera moves, even if it's little bits. And tons of details that I think that's the thing with these commentaries. It's not like a video essay where you can search for everything and then talk about everything. It's in these commentaries you're like trying to point to as much as possible. But I've evidently managed to talk about all sorts with each segment I've encountered in this film. Performances are good. John Candy's probably you know what? Yeah, I think whilst I don't really have a favourite character, I feel like John Candy was probably the best actor in his film. That monologue he has, it if you get the idea, just liked his I enjoyed his acting the most. But no one else does a really good job. I haven't really seen any of the other of these actors in other films, and after watching this, I feel like they should. I think they would have. I've looked on that IMDb like years ago, and there are in a variety of things, but nothing mainstream other than Sanken's actor appearing in Shark Tale. So I probably would like to see them in other things. Everyone does a well done job. Even all of these extras I've seen, they do pretty well as well. I'm not the best acting expert, but I think when you're judging acting, you must it's just seeing how human they act. That's like the main key when discussing a film and trying to talk about a variety of things. So like I said, I'm not the biggest expert, but from what I can tell, I think everyone does really well. And John Turteltaub does well with the directing in Sorcerer's Apprentice as well. So so there's that point. We'll just talk more about I like all the settings. Despite being like set in the real world, it still feels I don't know. It's just like lulling like all of these places. It makes them more interesting. Beyond places on Earth and beyond a building. All of these settings are proper significant. They stand out. I remember a lot of them, and they explore a lot of both Jamaica and Calgary, and and the themes. They managed. Still managed just to cover all sorts of themes. Such as the idea of when is something enough, especially when winning a race. The idea of your friendship being important and reaching your goals. A lot of cool lines to back it up. So many good lines. Not only the comedic ones, which are very, fun to reference, but just a lot of individual lines. They just stick with me, which is why this is a proper precious film to me. Probably, I would say definitely a top 10 film. I guess finally, before we go, we'll just quickly discuss the characters because I think for us can see it's definitely some solid work. You have Derice, who starts off as someone who's nearly made it to the Olympics, and then he has this other idea to get in, and now he's finally made it into another sport. He then starts to pick up influence of other teams, especially the Swiss team, thinking that that's how he should act. Um, because if the team is getting mocked and belittled by others, then Dries probably would have had the impression that they have to act like everyone else, to be taken seriously and to achieve what they want. And then you have Sanka, who, despite not really having much of an arc himself, he, is definitely like the catalyst and the representation of this idea of, maintaining the culture within the team despite, traveling far from home. And yeah, because there's tons of stories I've seen where the characters literally just meet each other, and then one of them, still, and despite little history, they still persuade one another with different things. But in this case, their mates still have been, mates for ages, and it's not a bad idea to have characters just meeting and then manage to connect with one another or persuade each other of certain things. But sometimes if you have an approach where people already know each other for ages, sometimes these new experiences, they show off different sides of people, and then you have one of them being like, hey, don't forget who you are in that. So just seeing them two in that, in my favourite scene, that history helps add a lot of weight to that scene. And in Yule is also someone who doesn't. It has his own arc, being more sociable, and there's slowly more clues of him getting on more, like smiling and interacting physically. With that group hug he was doing, he didn't seem to mind that after the phone call, and and also just accepting his culture a bit more, singing with the others, which he does later on, like before, and kissing the egg later on, like before, and that massive sense of achievement. He's got the success he wants, and we assume that he probably buys his own palace or a place in Kingston. Who knows? It would be very interesting to theorise what the events of this story looks like, with probably ideas of real life. If anyone would make a sequel of this, I would be happy to, considering how many times I've seen this film. I've already talked more about the side characters. All of them do their own sort of things, like Derice's girlfriend, who helps with the money. She acts as one of the primary perspectives when watching Derice and the others in action. She definitely works as she does. You have the Olympic person, the authoritative figure who has a lot of the rules and the allowances, and so once he doesn't give the money, he the others have to get it themselves, and then he decides to after being really unsure about this is Bob said team, and then just seeing them mess up only to then have this massive success. That's definitely gave him a change of heart, just like many other people, and also to see Irvin's former coach turn around as well, and one of the teams that were mocking the Jamaican team, they had a change of heart as well. So it just goes to show that once you show yourself to be unique, and that you're actually good at the sport, and that you should be taken seriously, then that's where you get the respect back. And it's definitely very similar to real life in many ways. I think two other people to discuss. So Junior also has this really nice arc, and to stand up for himself, especially in front of his dad, and then he has the nice payoff when seeing his dad in the crowd. Just goes to show that if you stand up for yourself enough, you do get the goals that you want to achieve, and then if you sometimes stand up for yourself, you do get the respect back, and that's definitely the case. Well, it's not just his relationship with his dad; it's also trying to be more confident against a team that was mocking him, and also trying his best to connect with Yule, and then he eventually does, because even if he's not like the strongest person, he at least tries to. I think it's just like a way of trying to make yourself nice and friendly and welcoming, and very accepting of what other people say. Like when Junior was trying to appreciate Yule's comment against Sanka when Yule was mocking him, and Junior tries to be like, "Yeah, I like that. It's funny." It's it's definitely a way to try and connect with someone, even if you're not getting that welcoming side of that person yet, you could say. So yeah, I think just another a nice detail. And yeah, I guess we'll just talk about Ervig. Very. I think he almost like represents a lot of almost like the primary person who, well, I think at the start at least, being like really against. Well, not only. Actually, no, scrap that. Someone who used to be a successful Olympian, and then some cheating really lets him down, and he's been under the radar for this long, and only for one of his ideas to then start coming about. He's not into it at first, and then he starts seeing the team really trying and improvising, especially with trying to get hold of the money, still practicing, not giving up, respecting Ervig as well as a coach and leader. It's just a nice gradual thing, and and I think Ervig almost because Dries may be the leader and the one driving the lot, but Ervig I think also acts as almost like representing of the team's progression. Being as more into the sport as Dries. He tends to be as cultural, more so like Sanka. He tries to be more sociable. Like Yul attempts to be more sociable, and also the element of Ervig trying to stand up for himself, because he has people walking all over him at first. Especially as he's former coach, and then to then speak to everyone in the highest authority of the Olympics. I think that's just another interesting story element which I just managed to figure out on the spot. I think you can also say I think the other characters have this a couple of links. For instance, Dries and Sanka, they're nice and sociable, but then you have Yul and Junior who struggled to be as sociable, and then you have Yul not being as cultural as Sanka, and there's all of these interesting details. I think we'll stop it right there. So if judging it objectively, probably like a 7 or an 8, but I personally give it 11. Still a variety of things I would improve, but I think it's rather solid, and I think it should be shared more and talked about more. It still feels rather timeless, despite there's not a lot of things in this actually that makes you feel like because like from how aged the film is, and despite taking place 30 years ago, I don't really have that because sometimes you like look at an old phone and you're like, gosh, I feel old, but I don't really get that feeling when watching this film. But anyway, let's start right there. Hope you enjoy this commentary. Like I said, you can share all sorts of comments on various social media outside of YouTube. I hope hope you've learned from what the film's achieved. Hope you like it, and please share this film with others as well. Like I said, we need to put this film on a much higher podium because of how unique it is in that. Anyway, have a good day and see ya.